The older I get, the more I realize how truly we are addicted to stress as a society. Our bodies physically, chemically, emotionally, spiritually have become addicted to the adrenaline and the hormones that come with being in a chronically stressed out state. And I wanted to film this video to kind of explain what I mean by this and then give you guys tangible, actionable steps that you can take in order to heal yourself from this addiction to stress that we all are in a cycle of. And so here is a video on why we as humans are addicted to stress, what's happening physically, hormonally, chemically in the body when we're living in this toxic soup of stress and stress hormones, and how we can actionably get ourselves out of those stressed out states. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so I'm going to be reading off of my notes, so if you guys see me look down, that's why. Okay, so essentially we live in a chronically stimulating, stressed out environment, from our phones to work, to driving, to school, to emails, to social media, to all of these things. We chronically have something to stimulate our minds with, and we are never bored anymore. Our bodies are not that different than our ancestors physically, but our outside environments have changed drastically. So in the past, we developed these essentially hormonal pathways, these hormonal cascades that will be released when we experience a stressful situation. And in the past, that used to mean a sense of danger or a survival situation. So whenever we encountered an animal, a lion, or something that threatened our safety, our bodies signaled these stress hormones to be released so that we could fight, flight, or freeze and just armadillo, right? And so these hormones are really important because they do help our bodies adapt to stress, and it allowed our ancestors to make it to where we are today. Except the problem here is that our outside environments are not the same as they used to be, and our bodies are recognizing minor stressors like social media, work, emails, being late to work, driving in a car, traffic, all of these things. They are noticing them as the same survival stressful situations, and so our bodies release the adrenaline and the cortisol, these stress hormones, to essentially get our bodies to react to these stressful situations, and it puts our bodies into like this superhuman mode, and we physically become addicted to the stress because it puts our bodies in a superhuman, super active, super just like go, get things done mode. And our society really does like foster this as like some type of badge to wear, right? Like this is a good state to be in because we are constantly productive, we are getting things done, we are contributing to the progression of society. And yet it is damaging our health because we were never meant to be living in a soup of cortisol and adrenaline constantly. This wears on our adrenals, this wears on our entire body as a system. And so then getting into how we become addicted to it is that we get so used to being in this state of go, get things done. When we have a moment of pause, we get a little bit confused. When we have a moment of stillness, our bodies are like, what the heck, this isn't our normal. Our normal is go, get things done. Why aren't we surging this cortisol? Why aren't we surging this adrenaline? And so we mentally go and reach for something to ignite that surge of adrenaline, that surge of cortisol. And what that looks like is we reach for our phone and we scroll social media, or we check our emails chronically when we know we don't even have an email to check. We're just waiting for something to pop up. Or if Instagram, we've already checked it all, we pull up Pinterest, or we scroll TikTok and we go next, and it continually releases that adrenaline and that cortisol, and we stay in this chronically stressed out loop. And if those aren't accessible to us, we think of the stressful situation at work. We think of that drama that happened with our coworker, or that fight that we had with our family member, and we stay stuck on it and we repeat the story in our head again and again and again. And it releases adrenaline, it releases cortisol, we stay stressed out, we stay addicted to the stress. And so if you find yourself unable to have a moment of pause where your brain just kind of is bored like when you were a child, it's a good sign that you too are also stressed out and you are addicted to the stress. And so I'm going to explain like why and what is happening in our body here. So when we are in a chronically stressed out state and our bodies are swimming in these pools of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, our energy is being all sent out to our extremities, and the energy is being diverted away from our internal organs. And so what this does is it actually wreaks havoc on our reproductive cycles, on our digestive system, on our ability to rest, digest, and heal. And so healing is put on the back burner when we are chronically in a stressed out state, because all of our energy is to our extremities to get things done, that no energy is being, I guess, conserved to be diverted for healing to take place. If you have an injury, this is why it might be chronically lagging on and on and on. If you have irregular periods, this is why you might be having irregular periods, because your body is telling itself that it's not in a safe place to reproduce. Let's put our energy elsewhere so we can get out of this situation and get ourselves to a safe place. And so when your energy is constantly being diverted away from your internal organs into your extremities, this actually puts so much stress on your adrenals, and your adrenals are essentially where your life force lies. And if you're constantly depleting that, you are going to eventually fall ill, and that illness will arise in a multitude of different things for different people. So essentially, when your body is in a stressed out state, the illnesses that arise from this are going to be very unique to each person, because the illnesses that arise are based on the various weaknesses of that individual. And so if you are somebody that is chronically stressed out, you might start to experience IBS or digestive issues because your gut is weakening, and that has to do with the gut-brain axis and how the two are definitely interrelated. But if you already had a weakness in your gut lining, say that you might have had the stomach flu recently, or you ate something that damaged the gut lining in your gut, or you just know that you are already kind of sensitive to different foods and things like that, when you encounter chronic stress, the first thing for you that you might realize symptom-wise is that you're constantly bloated, or you can't digest food, or you get heartburn when you eat, or you start to develop stomach ulcers. All of those things are things that I actually firsthand experienced, because I had a faulty relationship with food and I damaged my gut lining already. So then now when I experience chronic stress and long-term stress, the first symptom that I realize is my gut lining, and my gut starts to feel inflamed. But for other people, it might be that you start to experience PCOS or endometriosis, or you start to experience high blood pressure and obesity and things like that, because those are genetic predispositions for you. And so that's why stress is the leading cause of most illnesses, but the presentation, the diagnosis, how it presents in your body is going to be so different than another person. And that's just a case in point that different illnesses might have the same cause, and the same illnesses might have different causes. It's just how it presents in your body. If you already have an illness or a weakness in your genetic code or in your physiological makeup, that is why differences can occur in that way. One thing to understand is that when our energy is being diverted to our extremities, it actually gets diverted away from our nervous system. And so this is why it's really hard to rationalize when you are in a stressed out state. When you are in an anxiety attack or you are panicking, rationalizing is not something that you can do, because your energy is actually diverted away from your processing systems in your brain. The logic center in your brain actually gets shut off. And so even though you might be freaking out about something, like you got a B on a test, or you are running late for work, or you're stuck in traffic, or somebody said something on social media that triggered you, and you rationally, like the rational part of your mind somewhere is like, I should not be mad about this. I know this is kind of like not very important in the grand scheme of things. You physically and mentally cannot in that moment logically say this is not rational, because the rational parts of your brain are actually being shut off because all of your energy is being diverted away. And so this is why rationalizing and trying to rationalize the stress and rationalize the anxiety is not going to be beneficial for you. You need to do something to put yourself back into your body and back into a state of control. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about some of my favorite tools to help put my body back into a regulated state and switch myself out of that stressed out state, and also just support my body overall when I know that I'm going to be living in modern day life, and I just know that I need to support my adrenals and my stress response. So here are some daily practices that I do every single day. The first one is yoga and meditation or some type of breath work. The reason for this is that mindful movement and putting ourselves back into our bodies and recycling that energy is really good for activating our parasympathetic nervous system and putting ourselves back into rest and digest. What is really important to note here is that after any period of movement, whether it is gentle, like yoga, or it is very active, like running, you need to slow down and give yourself at least 5 minutes of stillness afterwards. That's why most yoga classes end in shavasana, to put your body back into a parasympathetic state. So movement followed by a short period of rest and returning inwards is really important there. Meditation allows your brain to just find stillness and find its 0 point, which is really important. We never ever get a chance to find our 0 point in today's day and age, and so starting your day with meditation, ending your day with meditation, and also just remembering that you can always bring your mind back to your 5 senses and keep your awareness on your 5 senses whenever you feel thoughts arising that you don't identify with and that you don't want to interact with. You can always just bring your attention back to your 5 senses. What am I hearing? What am I tasting? What does my skin feel like? What does my corduroy overalls feel like? Is it hot outside? What does the sun feel like against my skin? You can always just bring your awareness back to your 5 senses, and that is my tip for meditation. If you find it's very hard to bring your mind to a point of stillness, just allow your mind to be aware of your senses, and that might help you find stillness. Breathwork is a really great way to stimulate your vagus nerve, which in turn activates your parasympathetic nervous system and calms your body down. One really simple way that you can do no matter where you're at is just extend your exhale. And so you would want to breathe into your belly first, and you would feel as that breath rises into your chest and then out your mouth, and you would try and exhale longer than you inhaled. So if you inhaled for 6 counts, you would exhale for 8 counts, and that just really helps put your body back into a parasympathetic state. Another one of my favorite tools is to have temperature change, and what this looks like is whenever you feel yourself getting too wrapped up in your thoughts, super stressed out, one way to regulate your nervous system is to have temperature change physically, externally, and that might look like jumping into a cold river or taking a warm bath, or simply just filling a bowl with water and ice and sticking your face into it. That is probably my favorite way to do it. When I was a kid, I remember always placing my head on our cold granite countertops. That is another great way to do it. Keep in mind that you don't want to self-harm in this way, so don't grab onto an ice cube and try and keep your awareness on the ice cube. That's going to harm your body, and that's not what we want, but having a temperature change is huge. Another one is grounding and going outside into nature. Nature wants to hold us. We are nature, and I believe most of our stress has arisen from us forgetting that we are nature. And so simply going outside and putting your feet into the earth and feeling as the negative ions are donated to our body, the earth actually takes our anxieties and takes our stress in the form of positive ions and absorbs them, and then gives us anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety tools in the form of negative ions and electrons. So go outside, sit in the earth, put your hands or feet in the soil, hug a tree, have the sunlight on your skin, swim in some fresh water. Those are all ways to ground your body. Another way to reduce stress is to activate your creative centers of your brain and body. This actually activates your parasympathetic nervous system and puts you into a flow state and a state of just calmness. And so you don't have to judge whatever you're creating, but simply just going in with the intention of being creative and finding peace and ease through your creation. So splattering paint, just being silly with watercolors, pouring yourself into your journal, writing some poetry, singing songs, dancing, any of it is really so great for yourself and your entire body. Another one of my favorite tips is to make sure that you are not reaching for your phone first thing in the morning, because whatever you reach for first thing in the morning for that dopamine hit, that release of dopamine, is going to be what you reach for the rest of the day, likely. And so if you reach for your phone first thing to get that dopamine hit whenever you feel like unwell or you feel like you need that dopamine fix, then you are essentially just setting yourself up for reaching for your phone for the rest of the day. And instead, I like to immediately wake up and do something for my body to get a true dopamine fix, whether that is stretching, doing yoga, journaling, drinking some water, doing a self-care practice, cleaning something. I do all of those things before I reach for my phone, and I try to not reach for my phone for an entire hour when I wake up, and that definitely has helped me break up with my relationship with addiction to my phone, and that in turn has helped reduce stress in my life overall. And so another thing that I recommend is putting your screensaver on your phone as create before you consume, or a reminder to take breaks from your phone, or a gentle question like, am I reaching for my phone to be productive, or am I reaching for my phone to numb? And these questions just bring our intentions into our awareness and allow us to make more heartfelt, just genuine decisions for ourselves rather than doing things out of habit and out of a stress response. Okay, in regard to food, my favorite topic, food, herbs, and supplements that I use for stress and anxiety, my first tip is to make sure that you are eating enough, because if you are not eating enough food, it doesn't matter what else you're doing, your body is going to believe that it is stressed out, because it is not being taken care of, and so it's going to be in a sympathetic state. And so simply make sure that you are getting enough energy into your body to carry out all of the functions that it needs to, and also make sure that you're getting in enough protein and enough different types of plants, because this is what's going to be feeding your brain all of the different components that it needs to make the optimal amount of neurotransmitters and decrease stress overall in the body. Also, eating a lot of different purple foods can help reduce oxidative stress and just reduce the cellular stress on your body from the outside world, and just allow your body to find equilibrium. So that would be like purple sweet potatoes, eggplant, blackberries, blueberries, those sorts of things. My favorite herbs for reducing stress in the body, number one, are adaptogens. My favorite adaptogen for reducing stress is ashwagandha. It is really important with ashwagandha to kind of like see how it interacts in your body. Some people it doesn't interact super well, and so I would use other adaptogens that I will list in a second. But on the topic of ashwagandha, make sure that you are cycling it. So do 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 3 weeks on, 1 week off, and see how your body responds, because it can cause a little bit of like rage fits in some people. So just be aware of that. Another adaptogen that I really love is shatavari, especially for women. I definitely use it myself over ashwagandha because my body responds to it better. Another one is maca. Another one is reishi and cordyceps. I also really love astragalus because it helps my body not get sick when I have stressful situations come up. Another great one is rhodiola and schizandra berry. Those are all of my favorite adaptogens that I use for stress response. And then my favorite calming herbs would be lemon balm. I feel like it really just calms my body and reduces tension. Another one is California poppy. I love to use this when I'm experiencing just a lot of just this bundled up energy, because I feel like it just really like helps it blossom, kind of like the poppy. Another great one is vervain. That is for when I'm experiencing a lot of muscle tension from stress and anxiety. Vervain really helps come and just like disperse that tension. Another great one is kava. That one is really great when I am unable to sleep at night, alongside valerian root. Those two just help calm my mind and calm the monkey brain, and just they're more sedative, and so they just sedate me and like help me go to bed. And another more sedating one is skullcap, but skullcap is more sedating in the sense of like it helps sedate the anxiety. It doesn't necessarily make me as tired, but some people it does make tired. So I would just play around with those herbs and see how they interact in your body. Another great one is lavender. That one's a very gentle calming herb. And then chamomile is another great one. In regard to supplements that I take L-theanine because L-theanine is an amino acid that helps produce GABA in the brain, and GABA is our calm and cool chemical. L-theanine can be found in supplement form. It is also found in green tea leaves and matcha, green tea powders. Matcha has a high amount of it because it is a finely concentrated form of green tea. It is also found in some mushrooms, but not in super high amounts, so you're probably better off getting it in supplement form if you feel like you need it for the GABA production. And then finally, my favorite supplement that I use daily for anxiety and stress is magnesium glycinate. And the reason for this is that magnesium glycinate plays a role in our anxiety and stress cycle. It essentially gets burned up the quickest right away when we are stressed out and anxious. It gets burned up super fast, but when we don't have enough of it, it also causes stress. And so it's like this perfect cycle where if you don't have enough of it, you're stressed out. When you're stressed out, you burn through it. And so just making sure that you're supplementing it can kind of nick this cycle in the butt. Most humans are also deficient in magnesium because our soils are stripped of it, so most humans need to supplement with magnesium. There are a lot of different forms of magnesium, and magnesium glycinate is the one that you want to use for stress and anxiety. Okay, that is all from me today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video of me explaining why we are addicted to stress and then giving you guys my tips and tricks on how we can break up with this addiction and heal our minds, bodies, and souls. And so with that, I hope that you guys are taking some deep belly breaths and you guys are able to get yourselves out into the sunshine today, put your feet in the earth, and just slow down and be with your breath. I'm so grateful that you guys are here. I'm so grateful that you chose to click on this video as a means to deepen your awareness and deepen your connection with yourself and just continue your evolution as a human being. And so I just wanted to recognize that in you and just let you know that you guys are not alone. We all experience stress and we are all learning how to overcome this addiction. It is so new to us as humans, and so be gentle with yourself, take some breaths along the way, and just remind yourself that it's all about intention. And as long as your intention is good and in the right place, then you're doing the right thing. And so I love you. I am so looking forward to seeing you guys in another video soon. Until then, I hope that you guys are having a beautiful day and taking care of yourself. Go outside, connect to nature. I love you guys. Talk soon. Bye.